Welcome to Atlantic Canada Cooks, and let's talk about seafood. I am here in the heart of Tetuan, Morocco, and we're right here on the Mediterranean Sea, and you have to understand that fish and seafood is such an incredible important part of life. It's part of the supply chain. It's always sustainable and available all the time. And I hope that you keep watching some of our videos because we take a beautiful coastal drive and you can see the huts where the fishermen are out in the villages. And we just met with the chef and went out back, and we'll share some pictures after, and selected the exact fish that we're going to choose to eat today. And I am going to be asking for support to remember the names of everything. But these, I'm going to start with these because we're going to be having a look at this fish and they're going to go cook it. And it's going to take about 15 minutes for them to prepare this. Look at these. Actually, let's get the better angle. These are amazing. And remember, at Atlantic Canada Cooks, we're right on the Atlantic Ocean. And my family, my dad's side of the family, grew up in Alma, New Brunswick, which is where we have lobster, some of the best lobster in the world because of our very cold waters. So here on this side of the world, remember we're in the north of Africa, in the country of Morocco. You're gonna see a lot of different seafood. So these are the Sigala. Let's have a closer look. I'm very excited to taste this one because I think it's gonna taste maybe a little bit like lobster or crab, but they look absolutely amazing. But I'm very excited to show you what the next tray is. So we're gonna move these guys out of the way. And we're gonna bring over. So we don't often see this at home in Canada, or Atlantic Canada, but they bring out the tray to show you what you're gonna have. So you can imagine some of the fish were very large and now they've been perfectly filleted into exactly how you want it so for preparing. So I think many people are familiar. Let's get this down here in front of me. There we go. In here, so we've got our shrimp, our cravat, and I love the size of them. They're huge. And I have had these cooked so many different ways. So I'm excited to see how the chef's gonna prepare them today. We've already met this little fellow, so we're gonna put him over here. But the other thing that I've had, and I must say I have had it at home, and it was good, but calamari. I'm telling you, this is the best calamari I've ever had in my life, and I've tried it in Greece, I've tried it in Italy, and at home, but here, absolutely incredible. So they've got it all cut up and ready to go. We've also got some fillets of some sole here, right? And that was really kind of fun because when the waiter came over, we were asking him the fillets. And you know what he did? He turned it over so he could see the skin on the back to make sure exactly which one that we were going to be getting. So I'm going to ask for some support. Espadon. Look at these steaks. And I'm going to hold that up. So for someone like myself that tends to be a red meat fan, I think this is gonna be one of my new favorite steaks to have. And then over here, we've got some beautiful fillets of dorada. And when you see this fish, it's a much larger fish. And again, they are perfectly filleted and ready to go on. So we're gonna send this off to the kitchen so that the chef can get this all prepared for us. And we're looking forward for you to come on this seafood journey. So we're gonna hold that tray up one last time because the next time you see this, it's gonna be completely cooked. So we're just getting our waiter over and we're gonna send this back to the kitchen for the chef to enjoy. So dining in Morocco has been beyond an incredible experience. I know here at Atlantic Canada Cooks, there's many times. There we go. Thank you, Tofik. And don't forget these little guys. Oh, there we go. So those are going to be coming back. But when you sit down at the restaurant, and remember, I'm in a restaurant right now that specializes in seafood. But everything should be with the freshest ingredients. And when we sat down, this was the first salad that they brought over to us. And what I love is the careful attention to the detail. It's absolutely beautiful. Remember when I come in, the smell here was amazing. And then, of course, this beautiful food is coming out. This would be a typical Moroccan salad. And you can order a variety of different types of salad. But to be honest with you, I pretty much order this every time because I get about 6 salads in one. What you see here is some beautiful fresh figs, and they're just perfectly ripe and ready to eat. And I love it because I haven't seen cherries on some of the plates. There's some beautiful cherries in here. And always a nice piece of tuna that's on the top. Now it's funny because those of you that have watched Atlantic Canada Cooks for a while, I'm not a fan of what I call fishy fish. But here I've had the privilege of discovering some of the sweetest and most delicious fish. So a nice piece of tuna. And then of course we've got some cooked eggs. Hard-boiled eggs are always in there. So you're getting vegetables and protein. A very healthy diet. And you know, when you often hear eat a Mediterranean diet, well, I have had the privilege over the last few weeks of having this every day. And trust me, when you come to Morocco, you're going to enjoy the same thing. So we've got beautiful fresh cucumbers. And what I love here is, here we've got some cooked rice. And with the rice is a little bit of always some fresh herbs, cilantro, parsley, a little bit of mayonnaise, absolutely delicious. I love making potato salad at home, and always on the plate, so you get a little bit of potato salad and what we would call coleslaw, so some nice shredded cabbage, all those amazing things, and beets. A lot of beets here. And for those of you who are looking at eating healthy, remember your green vegetables, your carrots, your beets, and your root vegetables are going to give you some of the best healthy ingredients. So carrots, so I'm going to dig into this just a little bit, and I'm telling you, I really want to try one of these figs. So, and I know the skin is good to eat, but we're going to take a nice piece out. This is super ripe. Wow. So fruit is produced year-round across the country of Morocco, but different seasons, just like in every country, you're going to have different fruits that are more readily available at different times of year. This is my first trip in July here to this region, so I think this is why I'm seeing some different fruits that are out. Oranges everywhere, absolutely amazing. I'm going in for one more bite of that. And I'm just trying to think if there's anything new I haven't tried on here. I don't think so. But let's grab a couple of carrots. Wow. And of course, there's 3 of us that are going to enjoy this amazing meal. And food is always meant to be shared. You'll be given a fork because we're having salad. But for the most part, when you're eating your meals here, you're going to be given bread, and bread in your hands. Bread is also called hubs, and trust me, every day there's so many bakeries around, and you can get the freshest bread, and it's going to be served with every meal. So when the fish comes out, oftentimes you're going to use that bread and enjoy it with the fish. And I hope you watched our episode on tagines, where I had done a chicken tagine. You often will be able to get fish tagines here. And they come in, and again, with a beautiful, usually a nice red sauce, incredible flavor. And again, you're gonna use that bread to make sure that you get all the sauce on your plate. And you don't wanna leave anything behind. So, this is gonna be one of my first times trying these. And I know my Aunt Greta, hi Mom, and Shinobu, and so many of our guests from around the globe. I see Elena, and many of you know I don't always eat a lot of fish, but here I'm being very experimental. So what's the name of this one? Stun? Stun. So maybe we would often call that like a sardine at home. So I will tell you one thing, I think the bones are out of this one, right? Taking the bones out. Because many times when you get your large fish fry that comes in, you want to be a little bit extra careful to make sure that you're not eating any of the bones. So I believe this is a little fishier. I'm smiling at my friends here. Because now, a little fresh lime. Yes, so let's squeeze a little fresh lime. And last week we were in a sila, and what was really cool is we were picking the limes off the trees from the farm beside us. And I'm telling you, it's the best limes I've tried. I think we need to start importing to Canada our citrus from Morocco, because it is absolutely incredible. All right, let's have a taste of the stone. Okay. I stand corrected again. It's definitely got a little bit more of that fishy flavor. Not as much as I like, but I think where it's got the fresh herbs, it's got a little bit of parsley on top, and the lemon definitely makes it more fresh. And I'll tell you the other thing, I'm glad there's a breeze here, because the temperatures are between 30 and 40 degrees, which means extra hot. So eating fresh fish and fresh seafood definitely is amazing. So I'm gonna pass this over so my table mates can share a bit of that. One of the things you've heard us talk about here in Atlantic Canada Cooks, and I just wanna really bring this up about Morocco, is some of the best olives I've ever had in the world. And when you sit down at your restaurants, anywhere, you're always gonna be given some olives, and some beautiful fresh almonds. So nuts are super important when it comes to health and wellness. And here, I've had the best almonds, walnuts, pecans, cashews, incredibly important part of the diet. And I really enjoy having those in and with my salad. But let's dig in. We've got some nice dark Kalamata olives, and they're always really well seasoned. And again here, they've got a little bit, this one has some extra seasoning on it. I'm tasting a little bit of oregano, and then they added fresh parsley on top. So using a combination of a dried herb and a fresh herb will always make your food taste a little bit brighter and better. And I know when that cooked fish comes, we're gonna be having lots of fresh herbs and some lemon and lime juice on top of it. So I'm just gonna grab here. We've got our fresh lemons and limes. So the table is perfectly ready to go. And we can't wait for that fish to arrive. So while we're waiting, I just want to talk a little bit about the journey that we've had, because we have traveled, we were determining over 4,000 kilometers in the last 3 weeks. We were in the capital in Rabat. We were in Asila, which was one of my favorite visits. It's a beautiful small seaside town. with exceptional beaches. And again, we ate some beautiful fresh fish right on the waterfront. Then we traveled up to Nador, and you need to look at it on the map because the road along the coastline was consistently up and down. And we saw, I believe, to be the best beaches in Morocco, in the north of Morocco. We passed all the seaside villages, and again, the fishermen, everybody was out, and everybody was swimming at the beaches, the families, because when it's hot, you go to the beach. And I think that's what we're going to be doing this afternoon. But when you come to Morocco, here's a couple of tips. I love this. You are going to get this on every table in every restaurant that you go to, which is beautiful fresh olive oil. And because the olive oil is produced here, you're going to see a difference in the clarity, but the flavor is absolutely amazing because it's fresh pressed. This is also something that is put on almost everything as we're serving it, because olive oil is exceptionally healthy for you. There'll be some vinegar. Of course, here we're in a fish restaurant, and in here, actually, they're only serving fish. Many of the places that we've traveled to, I might have had a chicken tagine or a beef dish, but today it's going to be all about fish and seafood. But this has been a funny one. So salt in what you might think is pepper is cumin. So I did start one of my breakfasts off because, as my mom says, I have a heavy hand with my pepper, only to realize afterwards that it wasn't a pepper shaker, it was fresh ground cumin. So a small travel tip when you're coming here to Morocco, smell to make sure which one you have. And don't worry if you're missing your pepper, they're happy to bring you some. But again, that beautiful fresh herbs. And I know when you've seen, hopefully you've watched some of our previous videos where we've toured the Tetuan Medina, and you can see all the piles of spices and how fresh everything is. That's what you're gonna find when you come here to Morocco, around every corner. So we're just waiting for our fish to arrive, which I think is only gonna take a few, actually, wow. Now that's fast. I don't even know what to say right now. I think the tray looks even more beautiful than I thought it was. So let's pull it a little closer to me so that we can have a look. Wow, there's a beautiful, we've got a sweet potato here, and we got some beautiful grilled vegetables. Woo. But let's go back and talk about the fish. So, Michelle, where's my fork? Ah, I love it. So just like home, let's have all the right tools that we're gonna need for this. So these, because I'm used to lobster, and our lobster are huge, so we've got these for cracking the shells, albeit the chef has already done a good job to split these wide open for us. But I think it's for the claws and these ones. So let's start with some shrimp because they're right here on top. But I'm gonna hold the tray up because I really want the audience to get a very good idea of how incredibly heavy, not really, there we go. Let's turn this over so that you can have the perfect look. So we have our sole. So we're gonna start with a shrimp. Ooh, they're so hot. So we're gonna crack these open. So we got some trays over here. So we're going to peel the shells off so that we're not eating those. Oh, the smell. When we were in Nador, I had the opportunity to have these cooked or like brined in a salt, and then they're roasted in the oven with salt. I enjoyed it, but I just found that way, these fresh ones, look at this. Absolutely incredible. Whenever you have the opportunity to get fresh seafood and fresh fish, you should. If not, we know a lot of time when you travel all over the world, you can get the frozen, but wow. So let's have a look at our calamari, which are now perfectly cooked. Hopefully you can see there's just a little bit of a roast on it. Amazing. I'm going to put some lemon on, but I actually want to try everything without the lemon. When someone knows how to cook seafood, that's the restaurant that you want to go to. I think if you haven't had calamari, go back and try it again. It's not chewy, it's absolutely smooth, and the flavor is incredible. I love it. The presentation here is amazing. We've got some hot peppers, and again, we've got all these beautiful grilled vegetables. But I'm going to go in here for the sole. I've had a lot of this while I was here. Look at this. It's flaky. It is so perfectly cooked. I think that's my favorite. I know I haven't made it through, but I've had this at many different restaurants. Absolutely delicious. So, before I jump into the other ones, let's put a little bit of citrus across. We all know that's gonna happen. Oh, and as I said, the freshness of this lemon is absolutely incredible, or a lime, I should say, this time that I have. Get this. There we go. And when you add the citrus to fresh cooked fish, it brightens the flavor and it actually enhances the flavors. All right, these little guys I was very excited about. And you know what? They've grilled them, which is an incredibly great way. Oftentimes at home, we'll boil our lobster versus grilling it. And there's an amazing amount of meat inside of this. And I'm gonna ask again the name of this one. Oh, Michelle's, that's a good. Cigala.
Cigala.
Look at this.
Cigala.
You watch for the description and we're gonna write out the names of everything in the description for you. So, I've never had this one before. So the question is, does it taste more like crab or lobster? Let's see. Oh. There is 3 of us and I ordered 3 of these. I might be keeping all 3 of these to myself. Wow. I would definitely say that that's towards the lobster family in the flavor profile. Seriously, absolutely incredible. Ah. In Atlantic Canada Cooks, we say food is meant to be sauced. We've got a beautiful sauce here. All right, let's move over to the dorada. I gotta move my potato to find this. And I think it is this fillet here. Yes. So we took some pictures and we're gonna add those to show you, because this particular fish is, before it's filleted, is a flat, skinny fish. And then very carefully they're filleted. And again, my compliments to the chef. This is absolutely perfectly cooked. Smells amazing. Very different than the sole, but still nice, sweet, white fish. Tends to be my preference, so we leaned on that side of the fish category. Absolutely awesome. The boats were probably coming in from the docks out of the ocean this morning, bringing these in. So in Canada, we would have a lot more lakes. So you're gonna see trout and salmon a little bit differently. Here, everything's coming in from the ocean. So I have the ocean on my plate right now. All right. The steak. What's the name of the steaks here? This one.
Spada.
Spada
Or espado.
or espado?
Also.
Okay. So this actually looks, it's got a much thicker and a firmer meat. You can cut it where other fish is a little bit, we would use the word flaky. This cuts just like you would be cutting a steak. So this is one of my first times trying this. So let's see what we're gonna get out of this one. Okay, the smells delicious, and the texture of it is incredible. And it isn't my first time having this, because I also, pretty sure we had this in a tagine when I was in Nador. And my comment was, wow, that chicken tastes a little fishy. When I was quickly corrected to say, this is what I'm eating. Delicious. It has the texture, though, of a nice white chicken breast cook. The flavor's awesome. Absolutely amazing. And I just need to look to make sure we have tried everything on the plate. I'm gonna go in for another piece of sole over here. And I just wanna say, as we're wrapping up our seafood journey and our fish journey here in Morocco, make sure you travel to the north. This is where they know all of these products, and you're gonna come year round and get fish. But we're here in the summer right now, and there's a lot more going on. So let's give this one more bite. And let's talk a little bit about the sauce as we wrap up. And it's a beautiful tomato sauce, and I'm gonna give it a taste, but ooh, that has a little kick. But this is where you get your bread involved. So the proper way to have this is I'm gonna grab some sauce right here, enjoy it with my bread, or add a piece of that beautiful fish along with it. We've had this red sauce at a few restaurants. This particular one, they've added some extra seasoning, and it's absolutely amazing. It's got a little bit of extra kick. So, usually we're saying with my mom and I, from my kitchen or our kitchen to yours, but from this amazing restaurant in Tétouan, Morocco, to you. We hope that you take the opportunity to travel more, explore food, and make sure that you don't go to the biggest place, because sometimes the smallest place has the freshest food and people that are very passionate and focused on what we're doing. We're going to share some of the pictures of what this looks like in the back, and we hope that you stay along on the journey with us here at Atlantic Canada Cooks. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you're going to see some additional videos that aren't always everywhere else, and stay tuned for an incredible tour of all of the north of Morocco, and we're excited for you to book your next trip. Thank you so much to our YouTube audience for coming in and joining us. And we've got our Zoom audience here. And hi, Mom. I'm gonna see you soon back at home. And I know you're excited, because this means I'm gonna eat a lot more fish with you. Thanks for joining us in Atlantic Canada.